Byerly here from Community Campus. Just wanted to check in and see how we're all doing. Hope you're all staying well and healthy during this pandemic. All of your teachers miss you, and we're thinking about you and hope that you're all staying well and healthy. I have decided to do a little bit of a video for you all. We're going to start doing these maybe once every week or once every 2 weeks, and I'll post them on my Google Classroom, and I encourage you guys all to follow along with me and partake. We're going to be doing some recipes to start with. So I have Zach here and Kayleen, and they're helping me out by being my extras and my cameraman. So that being said, bear with me. This is my first time doing it, and let's rock and roll. So today we're going to be making goulash. So goulash is spelled G-O-U-L-A-S-H, I think. Is that right, Kaylee and Zach?
I believe so.
Goulash. Okay, so just like we would in class, we're gonna make a list of tools and a list of ingredients. So to begin with, we're gonna do ingredients. All right? So I'm gonna call it food. What food are we gonna need to make goulash? So we're gonna use our prior knowledge of Kayleen to...
Hi everyone, I miss you guys.
To help me out with what items we need to make goulash. All right, so Kayleen, what do you think we need to make goulash?
Noodles.
Noodles.
Like the macaroni type noodles.
Okay, so I wouldn't use spaghetti noodles.
No.
Okay.
You could if you absolutely had to, but the macaroni ones would be better.
It'd still be edible.
Yes.
If I had spaghetti noodles. Okay, what else do I need?
Tomato sauce.
Tomato sauce. That comes in a can, and we'll go through all the ingredients and what we have when we're done with this, with our list, okay? What else do I need?
An onion.
Onion.
Green pepper.
Green pepper. Now this is, I'll get to that, never mind. Green pepper.
Stewed tomato.
Stewed tomato. All right, now as a class, we've been talking about ways to modify things, okay? So a modify is to change something. You said, like, if you modify a car, you add rims to it, or you make the windows black, or you add extra sound systems to make it better. So we're gonna modify this, and we're gonna modify it with an onion and a green pepper. We don't have to have those. So if you don't have an onion or green pepper, no worries. But I would suggest having the rest of the items. So the noodles, the tomato sauce, and the stewed tomato. Those are gonna be some items that you...
Hamburger.
Oh, and hamburger, and hamburger. Thanks, Kayleen. And hamburger. That would not be a modification either. That would be kind of a, it's not a must. If you're a vegan, or a vegetarian, then you could do it without the hamburger if you'd like. But if you want the good old hearty goulash, I'd recommend using hamburger. All right, so now we have some tools we need. What tools do we need, Kayleen?
We need a frying pan for the hamburger.
Frying pan.
Cutting board to cut up the vegetables.
Cutting board.
A knife to cut them with.
Knife.
A large pot.
Large pot. What's that for?
That is for mixing the sauce and the stewed tomatoes, and for boiling the noodles, to get the noodles
Boiling the water and mixing it all together. Very good. All right, what else do we need?
Can opener for the cans.
Can opener.
Spatula. Strainer to drain the water from the noodles. And a measuring cup.
And a dry or a liquid?
A dry.
Dry measuring cup.
Well,
Dry measuring
Dry.
cup.
Yep.
All right. Anything else?
Not that I can think of.
All right. Let's go check out what items we have, and we'll take a look at all the different tools and the ingredients and how much we need of everything. So come on over. All right. So here we are with our ingredients of what we need. Previously on the board, we wrote down all that we need, and now we're going to kind of walk through it all. So we need some noodles. We need a cup and a half. I used gluten-free because I am gluten-free. So, but I would recommend you using gluten. They're going to be cheaper if you desire. Stewed tomatoes. You need 15-ounce can. This is a 14.5, but 15 or 14.5 ounce can of stewed tomatoes. This is 15 ounces of tomato sauce. 1 pound of ground beef. You could use ground turkey too if you like to make it a little bit healthier, not as fatty, greasy. We're using again, we're gonna modify it with some peppers. We have 1 green pepper, and we have half an onion, all diced up, ready to go. And we go over here, and we have our strainer for the noodles. We have our cup and a half for the noodles. Our can opener for the cans. Sometimes you'll get a can that has the pop top, then you wouldn't need a can opener. We have our knives for our dicing and just for our general use. And this wasn't on the board. Some of you may have it and some of you may not have it. It's kind of like we call it a meat pulverizer. You take it and you smash the meat down as you go and it browns it. It's pretty nice. I just got one at home. But like I said, some of you may not have it, and if that's the case, then you can just use a spatula. Really anything, this would work, even has a hole in it, but you could use this even just to brown the hamburger with as well. Okay? I almost said any questions. So we're gonna keep rolling. So next step we're gonna do is we're gonna start cooking. So let's rock and roll. All right, here we are, the stove. So we're gonna use I have my hamburger here. I have my other ingredients, my green peppers and my onions and my noodles, getting those ready. Those are gonna be the next items I'm gonna need. And I forgot to mention 2 tools before. This is our pot that we're gonna use, and I have some water. We're gonna use this to boil the noodles in, my cup and a half of noodles. And this is the frying pan that I'm gonna brown the hamburger with, and then later on add my modifiers, the green peppers and the onions. So to begin, let's get this ground beef put together. I'm just gonna cut it down the middle and peel it back. There's really no good way to do this. There's no perfect way, I should say. At home, I have scissors that I use to cut the ends off. I'm gonna just toss that in there, throw it away, and I wanna wash my hands because that raw hamburger. Okay, so now I have my hamburger and my hands are washed, and again, it's good to wash your hands during these times in our life, regardless of what you're doing. Keep your hands washed and remember to cough in your elbow. All right, so now we're gonna turn this to medium high. And we have low and we have high, and we want it on medium. So we're gonna put that right in the middle. And we're gonna let that pan heat up a little bit. And this is the pulverizer we call, or we could use the spatula. So I'll do both. So we're gonna start off by just breaking up the hamburger. A lot of you have done this before, either at campus or at home, or doing it currently at your house. Those of you that are taking some initiative and doing things at home independently or with your parents, I think that's great. I had one parent that told me that their students doing things at home, and they're calling it their homework, and that's kind of what it is. We could give you worksheets for your house, and we can give you internet sites to go to do things, but in the long run, the best practice and the best things you're going to be able to do is just doing things. That's what we do at campus, right? We do things that are hands-on. Okay, so that's kind of broken up. Now I'm going to take, again, if you have this, use it. If not, no worries. But I'm going to show you how you use it. So this is, I guess, the meat pulverizer. I don't know what you call it, meat browner. That's what Zach called it. That was a good word. So you're just going to kind of go like this. And what it's doing is it's chopping it up as we go. And yet it's turning it around. It's all in the wrist. It's like hitting a baseball. Swinging a bat. All right, so we're gonna. All right, so while I'm waiting for the water to boil and the hamburger to brown, we're gonna open up these cans of tomatoes. So I have my stewed tomatoes. I wish I could kind of give you an explanation of what they are with my words, but I don't have the words. So we're just gonna show you. It's like tomatoes in a liquid juice. So it adds a little flavor. So that's stewed tomatoes. And this is a tomato sauce, which you should all be familiar with. And I need to add that this is all relatively cheap. I think I bought this for 50 cents at Hy-Vee. And I bought this for 50 cents at Hy-Vee. Total, this cost me about $12, 10 to 12 bucks. Mine was a little bit more because I used gluten-free products. Okay, so I have my tomato sauce and my stewed tomatoes. Okay, so the hamburger is browned. We're now going to bring this over, the hamburger in the frying pan over to the sink. I'm gonna put the strainer in the bowl and this in the sink. And I'm gonna need a spatula. I cleaned off the spatula so there's no raw hamburger, because you don't want to mix the hamburger with the cooked hamburger, the raw hamburger with the cooked. And I put this in the strainer so that we don't get grease in the kitchen sink. My wife and I had to get somebody over at our house to do our pipes because we didn't really do this all the time. And so it got a little bit greasy. Okay, so now that should be good. Now I'm gonna take get a little bit of a shake here, a little shake, shake, shake. And I'm gonna put it into the pan. Okay, now Zach can zoom in here. He can show you the grease that's sitting there. Now you say, Chris, what do you do with that grease? Well, you may remember that I have a can. So you're going to put the grease in one of the cans, and then that'll get hard and solidify, and then we throw away the can. All right, now we're over here. So now we have it. I turned it to low because the hamburger is brown. So now all I want to do is add my veggies. And I'm going to get a knife here and just kind of bring it down. We're gonna let that cook a little bit. We call it sauteing. We're gonna saute these vegetables so that they don't get not so hard. And as I'm sitting here, I'm feeling something really super warm on my left arm. So I look down and I noticed that we have the wrong burner on. So whether it was me or Zach or Ghost, we turned on the wrong burner. So that's something to be very much aware of. So we're going to turn that there, and we are going to turn it to high. So we will keep an eye on that and make sure that we do not touch it. And you'll notice also that my pan handle is sticking out, which those of you that know daily living skills, that is bad because I could bump it, or my son Connor could come up and grab it and pull it down, or a dog could grab it. So you want to make sure you keep it out. And I'm going to go wash my hands because I touched my face earlier. I just noticed that. So I'm going to touch my face whether I'm cooking during this pandemic or not. It's good to always keep your hands washed when you're cooking because you don't want germs on them. So we'll come back when the noodles are boiling. All right, so here we are. The water is boiling. We got our sauteed green peppers and onions and hamburger sitting over here hanging out. So now I'm going to do 1.5 cups over the pot, so if anything spills, it goes right into the pot. All right, there's one. And you have 2 options. You could use this for my half and just fill it up with half. All right. Or you could use another one, another half. So you could do 1 full 1.5, or just do 1.5 with this. Right, so now we have the stewed tomatoes, and we're gonna add this to the hamburger and to the peppers and onions, and we're also gonna add our tomato sauce. But before we do that, I need to strain the stewed tomatoes, get that juice out of there, so it's not so juicy and runny. So this can go down the sink. It does not clog the drains. One thing too, it's just totally your choice, but I like to clean as I go. So I will clean, so as you see the dishes are put away, I'll clean this bowl out. I'm gonna put this underneath the tomatoes as I walk over so that I don't spill the tomato juice all over the ground. And I'm just gonna dump the stewed tomatoes in there. I'm gonna dump tomato sauce. And again, my spoon is clean with no raw meat on it. I cleaned it before, and I'm just gonna mix this all together and let it sit on low. While I'm waiting for the noodles to get done. All right, so we believe that the noodles are done, so we're gonna test it out. And the way I'm gonna do that is I'm gonna dip my spatula into the noodles, take one out, and I'm gonna cut it. And if it cuts really nice, then it should be done. So if I can grab one here. All right, so here's my noodle, and I'm gonna cut it. And that cut really super slick, right down the middle. So we're gonna say that that's done. All right, so now I'm gonna go strain it. So I have 2 hot pads here, because this pan could be hot. This pot could be hot. And I have my strainer all ready for me in the sink. So I'm gonna, now if you're not comfortable doing this by yourself, no worries, find another individual in your house to do it. I'm just gonna pour this into the strainer, into the sink. Just as it sounds, I'm straining, so when you strain something, you're separating the noodles from the water. All right, and I'm gonna put them back in the pot, because I'm gonna mix all my stuff together now, my hamburger and sauces. So now we can get a close-up of this. You can see just my noodles. All right, so now my sauce should be good. I'm gonna turn this off, and I'm gonna turn this to, so make sure you get the right one. I'm looking at my picture here, and this is the front, and this is the rear. I did the front before, I'm gonna do the rear, learn my lesson. So I'm gonna turn that to kind of a low. Because everything's cooked, we're just trying to get it all warmed up together to mix. So now I'm gonna just dump in my mixture here. Man, this smells really good. And Zach said a good comment a little bit ago that it's colorful. And what that means and why that's important is when things are colorful, it means that they're healthy for the most part. You can see all the different colors in there with my onions and my peppers and my tomatoes and my hamburger. So if you have a lot of yellows or a lot of pale looking food all on a plate, that wouldn't be considered very healthy probably. You just fried. All right, so what we just did together is we made goulash. All right, here we are. Goulash is cooked. Now we're gonna plate it and we're gonna put some in a Tupperware because I'm not gonna eat it all today. This is a healthy meal. It's 271 calories, which we're gonna use 1 cup. So I'm gonna just take my cup here, just do a little healthy cup here. And I'm just gonna plop it down there. That is a lot of goulash, and look at that color. That is beautiful. All right, so unless you're planning on feeding a whole army or your whole house, some of you are locked in your house, maybe you will eat all this, but I'm not gonna eat all this. So I'm gonna put it in my Tupperware here. The pan has cooled down, the pot has, so I don't need to use a pot holder anymore. Smells super good. If it wasn't 10 o'clock in the morning, I might have me some goulash. Maybe, you know what? Maybe I still will. All right, so I got my plated goulash and my goulash to go to bring home and feed my family with. That's all I got for today for cooking. As far as life, stay safe, stay healthy. Keep your 6 feet, wash your hands, wear a face mask. I am when I go to public. Looks kind of goofy, but it's safe. Do what you got to do to stay healthy. And we'll see you next week. And this is Chris checking out with Quarantine Cooking with Chris.